Sukui Gar. Greetings, I am Tad Larkin, the lore master of Manda-LORE, and today I'll be digging through the archives to elaborate on the universal language of the galaxy. In this vast and vibrant galaxy filled with billions of star systems, many civilizations of intelligent beings have developed their own spoken languages. However, there is one that has come to be considered as a common universal language for the galaxy at large, the Galactic Basic Standard. The Galactic Basic Standard, sometimes called Galactic Basic or just Basic, is derived from an old Coruscanti language with influences from Bothan, Duros, and other early human languages. Following the fall of the Rakatan Infinite Empire, this early version of Basic was used among merchant traders in the Galactic Core, and when several core worlds consolidated into the Galactic Republic some 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, they adopted it as their official language. As the Republic's power and influence grew over the millennia, Basic became the standard language for conducting business, politics, research, and scientific study, and as more star systems came into the Republic's fold, Basic began incorporating elements of other alien languages as it evolved. During this evolution, the language evolved into 4 distinct dialects: High Galactic, Mid Galactic, Taiwanese, and the Galactic Basic Standard we know today. High Galactic is extremely similar to Basic, however, it utilizes a completely different 26-character alphabet and number system. In modern times, High Galactic is rarely used in a common setting, and is instead reserved for religious texts and legal documents of great importance. However, there are some instances of prominent historical figures who colloquially wrote in High Galactic. Mid-Galactic is an obsolete and no longer used dialect that dates back to the mid-15th millennium BBY, and is commonly seen in the holoplays of the playwright Peshoslok, with modern Basic translations on the side. Taiwanese and Basic share the same root language, Old Coruscanti. However, when human colonists from Coruscant ventured to the Taiwan cluster on sleeper ships centuries before the founding of the Republic, the humans of these newly colonized Taiwanese worlds were no longer in contact with their core world's counterparts, and Taiwanese evolved separately from Basic. After the Taiwan cluster was rediscovered by the Republic and a series of wars which resulted in Taiwan's annexation were fought, elements of Taiwanese were absorbed into Basic, but Old Taiwanese fell out of use. The 24-character Taiwanese alphabet is still used today, commonly in military applications for classes of starships, starship squadron maneuvers, and squad call signs. Finally, the Galactic Basic Standard is the colloquial form of High Galactic, used in everyday conversation, entertainment, and advertising. Unlike High Galactic, Basic utilizes a 34-character alphabet called Aurebesh: Orc, Besh, Kresh, Dorn, Esk, Forn, Grek, Herf, Isk, Genth, Krill, Leth, Mir, Nirn, Osk, Peth, Kek, Resh, Senth, Trill, Usk, Vev, Wesk, Zesh, Yurt, Zerek, Cherik, Enth, Oneth, Krenth, Nen, Orenth, Shen, and Thesh. The last 8 characters of Aurebesh are compound characters that represent 2 characters that are commonly alongside one another in most Basic words. For example, the character Thesh combines the characters Trill and Herf, so if you wish to represent the Basic word the, one would only need a Thesh and an Esk to spell it. These characters come in handy for longer words in Basic. I was just using the as an example. As one could imagine, with quintillions of Basic-speaking beings strewn across the galaxy, many regional accents have developed over the years, some naturally, and some as a result of Basic being a second language. The most prominent and oldest of these accents is Coruscanti, commonly pronounced by many native to Coruscant, more specifically in the wealthier Upper City regions and the Senate District. Coruscanti can be heard in the accents of Palpatine and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So uncivilized.
Related to the Coruscanti accent is the Iriaduan accent, which puts flourishes on certain syllables and sounds more posh and a bit more pretentious than Coruscanti. Perhaps the best example of an Iria doing accent being that of Grand Moff Tarkin's.
Take the responsibility yourself.
Princess Leia, before your execution, I would like you to be my guest at a ceremony that will make this battle station operational. No star system will dare oppose the Emperor now.
The Concord Dawn accent is also a bit similar to Coruscanti. However, different inflections on key phonetics of words make it an accent all of its own, and no doubt was influenced by the native Concordian dialect of Manda-LORE, commonly spoken on Concord Dawn. Jango and Boba Fett's accent is the best example of this.
Very proud.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.
Ever made your way as far into the interior as Coruscant?
Once or twice.
Recently?
Possibly. Never heard of him.
Really?
I was recruited by a man called Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogdan.
Curious.
The Corellian accent, my accent, to many Corellians seems to be the lack of an accent, as words tend to be pronounced as they were phonetically intended. The Corellian accent is best exemplified by none other than Han Solo.
3PO, you tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth he'll get no such pleasure from us, right?
Another accent, which isn't common but is interesting enough to note, is Yoda's accent, which is more of its own dialect, because he doesn't use the correct word order in basic sentence structure. He instead places the object before the subject, followed by the verb. Curiously, the origins and etymology of this bizarre dialect is unknown.
The droids have started up their main power generators.
Then now the time is, Commander.
Yes, sir.
There are a plethora of other accents prevalent throughout the galaxy. However, a majority of them are influenced by Basic being the second language of the speakers. Examples of these include, but are not limited to, Neimoidian, Chiss, Gungan, Toydarian, Cathar, and Barabel. Despite the Galactic Basic Standard being the official galactic language, there are some non-human species that don't possess the necessary organs to create the phonetics needed to speak Basic, such as Tauts, Wookiees, and Gamorreans. However, many could understand it when spoken to. In the case of the Wookiees, there have been some rare instances where some Wookiees have developed speech impediments that allow them to actually speak Basic, such as the case with Ral Rasheen, who helped Leia Organa Solo escape from Nogri assassins on Kashyyyk in 9 ABY. Nevertheless, the Galactic Basic Standard is invaluable to the day-to-day operations of galactic politics, commerce, entertainment, and news, and will no doubt continue to be so for the foreseeable future. This transmission was commissioned by Posh. If you have any suggestions for future transmissions, don't be afraid to drop a comment. Special thanks to my patrons, Wildcat144, The Grand Pope, Zexend, JTribs1997, David Miller, AJ Can't Think of a Good Pun Right Now, Captain Chewbacca, Dave the Grave, Hugo Novotny, Zim the Despot, and Posh. If you'd like to support this channel, please visit my Patreon to find out how. Link is in the description. In the meantime, keep your comm channels open for future transmissions, and don't forget to subscribe. Tad Larkin, out.